Isn't it amazing how something as simple as sharing a smile or a good morning with someone can change the entire course of a day? Theirs and yours. These are the moments that remind us we're all connected. We experience 1,000 waking minutes on average every day. How are you spending yours? I'm Dr. Wendy Bazilian, and you're listening to 1,000 Waking Minutes. I can't wait to connect with you here with practical ways to eat well, move daily, and be healthy, to optimize every waking minute you live for a happier, healthier life. Thank you for sharing some of your waking minutes with me today. Let's get started.
I'm saying yes to better days, yes. I'm on my way, yes. It's gonna be okay, yeah.
Hello, and welcome to 1,000 Waking Minutes. I'm Dr. Wendy Bazilian, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're exploring something so simple, yet so impactful: the power of greetings, of small gestures, and everyday kindness. These are the little things, like saying good morning, or holding the door open for a colleague or a stranger, or even a quick happy holidays, as I say to you today. They may seem small, but they can ripple out and create big connections in our lives. Over the years, I've really come to appreciate the beauty in the small moments that bring us together, like everyday gestures that build this connection, even without realizing it at times. I've always been someone who loves to say hello walking down the street. I find myself in cities sometimes getting a joyous hello, or someone lifting their head to smile in return, to look at me curiously. Whatever the case, it makes me feel good, and it's just my nature. I've also been sort of trained into it over the years, and just like all habits, often there are practices that you might engage in, and if you do them on a repeated basis, you get better at them and they just happen. They become part of your you. And because I was a general manager of operations for a time in my early profession at a busy European style cafe in the area, this was a cafe and coffee house. It was bustling all the time. I was charged with getting the live music on the weekends. We had very long hours, and that was hospitality, to make and delight the customers and hopefully leave them wanting to come back, having had a good time. Also, spending over a decade at a destination spa with a very high return rate, you got to know people, and it was expected of us, but it was also something that was inherent in the culture and the spirit of the place, to be kind, to look up, to say, how may I help you, to say good day. And so the practices sort of make it habitual. But I admit, like all of us at times, when your nose is down and you're bustling and busy trying to get from point A to point B, sometimes we forget, or we don't really, recognize the real impact that those small gestures can have on others, but also ourselves. So when the holidays roll around, and there are a lot of holidays throughout the year, so I like to celebrate them all, but I'm always reminded how powerful it is to pause and greet the world around me. I love that we have sayings that we can deploy, that we can use to complete strangers. So I try to be the first to say happy holidays, not as a competition, but just there for it, no matter what the holiday is. I love the way holidays sort of give us permission to greet each other warmly, as if we could do it every day, and we should do it every day. Even if we don't know the person, we can exchange smiles, greetings, and we can engage small acts of kindness, and it tends to bubble up around holidays. We can greet those people we don't even know with heartfelt, like happy holidays or happy new year, or even a more hearty good morning. And even day to day, if you think about, you hear someone sneeze and you say, what do you say? You say, bless you when someone sneezes, or another version. These moments are more than just, I should say, surface level interactions. They remind us that we're part of something bigger. We are part of a community. We are aware of others around us. And as humans, we're better together as a collective. So I want to share a couple of stories that have stayed with me. And I bet a story of a person will come to your mind that will give you a smile as well in your life as we embark on today's episode about the small gestures and the acts of kindness and what they can do for our lives. First, there's Mr. Russell. He's the custodian at my daughter's school who just actually last week retired after a wonderful career. Every single school day, he's the guy that would greet everyone. It wasn't his role. It wasn't his responsibility. It wasn't, I'm sure, in his job description. But he was a guy who would be there walking around the PE field, landing himself at the top of the staircase as all the kids and parents and teachers file in for school. Every single school day, he would greet everyone, the kids, parents, teachers, anyone who walked in his path, and he would greet them with such cheer and happiness. He has this booming voice. He's a big personality and an energy that makes you feel welcomed and seen. Every day, no matter how busy or chaotic a school drop-off can be, and if you're a parent, you know what that's like, his greeting would cut through the noise and lift everyone's spirit. And since I met him and was sort of reintroduced to that person at a school, he brought back to my mind someone from my own childhood, and even at my own elementary school growing up in Avon, Connecticut. There was this teacher, his name was Mr. Sims, and I actually forget what he taught. He wasn't a direct teacher of mine. He may have been a speech counselor, if I recall. And he made it his mission to greet every student with warmth, similar to Mr. Russell. In particular, on Friday afternoons, I just remember him always standing outside where the buses would roll up and we'd be leaving to get on the buses. And he'd cheerfully announce, Monday is fun day. Monday is fun day. Don't forget, Monday is fun day, as a way to sort of usher us into the weekend and remind us that the school week was exciting to come back to. Decades later, that memory makes me smile deeply in my body, on my face as well. And it wasn't just words, it was a feeling of being cared for, of being valued and noticed. I didn't know it at the time. It was sort of one of those silly things that you just live through. But it has impact. And I feel like we all have stories, if you tap them, of those instances where there's impact in the small gestures. And by the way, if there are any childhood friends listening, feel free to correct me or corroborate my story on this memory. So these moments, these small gestures, are the heart of today's episode. They remind us that we're all part of something bigger. We're all connected, and like I said, we're better together. So let's explore by way of some stories, and the holiday time is the perfect time to do this. We'll look at the science and also practical ways that we can bring more kindness to the lives of others and also ourselves within our 1,000 waking minutes each day. The holiday season feels like the perfect time to talk about kindness, really. Anytime's a good time. But the holiday time, because it naturally invites more opportunities for connection. If you think about it, this is a time of year that sort of opens the door to say things like Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Are you traveling over the holidays? Have you gotten your Christmas tree? Even with people that we may not usually speak to on a frequent basis or regularly at all. This is a time when many people send cards. We tip our baristas at the coffee shops. We even give gifts to our mail carriers. I've noticed some neighbors in my area, they put out baskets with snacks and water for the UPS and the FedEx and the Amazon drivers. There's something so thoughtful about this. It's the small connections to reach out, even if you don't physically engage with that human being. We tend to say thank you or look up and engage, it seems to me, a little bit more during this season. And there's magic in these moments. Wouldn't you agree? So one of my favorite things is sending holiday cards. So in our house, we often send New Year's cards. And in fact, we have a long tradition of sending lunar New Year's cards, which comes a little bit later, usually late January or sometime in February. That's another story for another time. But I also love receiving them just as much as I like sending them. Although I know that many people have sort of reduced this tradition for environmental reasons or to recapture some personal time, it is time intensive to do this, which I completely respect. What really matters is the reach out, the greeting of the season. It could be paper, electronic, even a phone call, but there's something so heartfelt about taking the time to say hello. And it seems like holiday times sort of re-ups that invitation to do so. Writing a note to someone, a family member, a friend you haven't seen in a little while or even in years, or someone who's had impact on your life, like a teacher or mentor, reminds us that the connections that matter most are in these small acts at times. And it holds a lot of meaning. If you've ever received a letter from someone like that, or an out of the blue reconnection, you can know what it feels like already. You can probably tap that memory and it'll probably actually bring back a very real physical feeling inside. It's one of the things that makes both sender and receiver feel seen and valued and remembered. And that's the beauty of this season. It gives us moments to pause and to reach out. There's a poem I came across recently that deeply resonated with me related to this very topic because it captured the idea and the observation that I've sort of held inside or maybe not been able to articulate well about gestures to others. It's called Small Kindnesses by Danusha Lamaris. It captures these moments so beautifully. So I'd like to read just a few lines to you. She writes, I've been thinking about the way when you walk down a crowded aisle, people pull in their legs to let you by. Or how strangers still say, bless you, when someone sneezes, a leftover from the bubonic plague. Don't die, we are saying. Isn't that incredible? The idea that simple bless you carries so much history and connection. So she continues with saying, and sometimes when you spill lemons from your grocery bag, someone else will help you pick them up. And then this part really struck me. Mostly, we don't want to harm each other. We want to be handed our cup of coffee hot and to say thank you to the person handing it. To smile at them and for them to smile back. So I think there's something really profound here in these small exchanges. These gestures, again, may seem tiny in the moment, but they're profound in how they stitch us together as a community and as human beings. Holding the door open, offering the kind word, or lending a helping hand, these may seem rather insignificant in isolation, but they do create a ripple effect that can transform a day, transform a team, and hold us together as a community. And that's the heart of today's message. Now, let's dig into the science because I love bringing research into our conversations. Here's what we know about kindness and why it matters. Research has shown that simple acts of kindness and everyday greetings, generosity, can significantly enhance social connections and individual well-being. So here are some key findings, the returns on investment, or ROIs, the benefits, in other words, from the peer-reviewed research. Number one, kindness enhances happiness. A comprehensive review by the University of Oxford concluded that engaging in kind acts leads to a modest yet significant increase in subjective well-being. This study suggests that even small gestures can boost happiness for both the giver, in particular, the person performing the act of kindness, and although not specifically evaluated in this study, but in others, you can imagine the effect is also positive for the receiver. And though you can't predict when you will be on the receiving end, we can choose to be on the kindness spreading side to bring that personal gift back to us and bring the joy and value and the being seen moment to the person receiving. So kindness brings happiness. Number two, this is good news because other research has looked at the impact on others. And I want to report and also reinforce that the impact of kindness on others is high. It makes a difference. And studies have shown that boosting mood is just one of the many benefits that the receiver gets when you choose to gesture and give a small act of kindness to another. This may seem obvious, of course, but researchers report that we actually tend to underestimate its magnitude or how much we think it's valued by others. Research published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business found that individuals, evaluating nearly 1,000 of them across multiple experiments of performing random acts of kindness. So think doing something for others kindly, nicely, with generosity, and not expecting anything in return. That the people doing the acts of kindness often underestimate the positive impact that their kind actions actually have. And amazingly, sort of sadly really, this miscalculation of predicting the level of the recipient's joy and value received can deter people from engaging in acts of kindness. These pro-social behaviors, they're called in the literature, or that kindness extended just because, despite the substantial benefits to both. So I want you to think about this and help me spread the word. Don't underestimate its effects. In other words, spread the word as you spread the kindness, and we'll all benefit. The third piece of reinforcement I want to share is that the net effect, these acts of kindness, is something we all do. This is a human thing and it's universal. People around the globe, in fact, engage and help each other out on average about every 2 minutes, according to some research that I read. In a multi-country study published in Scientific Reports just last year by Giovanni Rossi and colleagues, they observed that people agreed to helping out, saying yes when asked with small requests nearly 80% of the time versus declining. So they say yes. These are the small gestures or requests like, could you hold the door? Or could you help for a moment? Far more did they say yes than saying no. We are a species, our human being species, that were largely built on cooperation. And I'm so relieved to report this, and it's so cool that science shows this. And from this high rate of compliance, let me put it that way, saying yes when asked, it does appear that kindness really is universal. It makes me think of my theme song to the podcast. I'm saying yes for better days. Yes, I'm on my way. Yes, it's gonna be okay. Yeah. So we say yes when asked, and I think that that's really cool, and kindness is universal. Next up, can engaging in acts of kindness make you more attractive? I ask you this. Well, it appears so. And sort of, can you believe we've studied that? Research from Tel Aviv University, published just this year in the British Journal of Social Psychology, indicates that pro-social traits, so things like kindness and altruism, can enhance perceived physical attractiveness. In other words, kind people are seen as more physically attractive by others. And what's more, and I think this is interesting, this effect is comparable to, or even surpasses, the impact of traits like humor or intelligence on perceived attractiveness. So, wow to that one. But being kind or being generous and warm can increase physical appeal to others, more so than being smart or being funny, though we know that those have been linked too. Sort of cool. And I'd be remiss with this final benefit that I'd like to share for today, not to mention the physical benefit as well. Beyond the psychological perks of being kind, the boost to our mood, feeling connected and warm, research has also linked helping others and being generous to better physical health. In one study in health psychology, older adults who spent money on others versus themselves had lower blood pressure, both systolic and diastolic in this particular study. And other research has shown that performing acts of kindness, being sharing and caring and generous, showed improvements in their immune system profile too at the genetic and blood level. And that's a little bit of wow to add to the mix. Blood pressure, immune system, mood, attractiveness, there's nothing to lose. So considering all these findings, we can say that these studies collectively demonstrate and support the notion that simple everyday gestures can foster social cohesion and enhance individual well-being. And they've shown to have physical benefits too, like lowering blood pressure. That's a big one because many of us are contending with that, and hopefully either medically managed or medically and managed with lifestyle. All of these emphasize the profound impact of small acts of kindness. And here's my favorite part. Acts of kindness can trigger the release of oxytocin, which is also known as the bonding hormone. So it makes us feel connected to others as well. These small moments of kindness aren't just feel good, they're biologically hardwired to bring us closer together. Now is the part of this episode where we're going to share a mindful minute together. If you've been here before, you know how this works. I'll guide you through a little bit of setup, let you know when we're starting, and then begin the clock. At the end, we'll take a moment to reflect together. Sometimes the idea of mindfulness can feel a bit abstract or even out there for some people. But Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk and renowned teacher of mindfulness, distills mindfulness into its purest, simplest form. He suggests that with each breath, you are actually cultivating mindfulness by the fact that you are aware of the present moment. In other words, awareness of breath is the essence of mindfulness. He is a man of many profound quotes, but another that is tied closely to the theme of today is the quote where he says, "Breathing in, I am aware of the interconnectedness of all beings. Breathing out, I send peace to the world." And that's what we'll do today in our Mindful Minute. And that's what we do when we offer gestures of kindness outward to others. We are aware of the interconnectedness and we send peace, aka we offer kindness to the world. And it's such a powerful idea because it brings mindfulness down to the most human, accessible level, our breath. So today we'll use that awareness as a way to pause, reflect, and connect with ourselves. So to start, I invite you to find a comfortable position. Sit with your feet flat on the ground, adjust them if you need to, or if your legs are crossed. If you're standing, that's okay too, but make sure your weight feels balanced. Relax your shoulders, soften your jaw, and if you'd like, close your eyes or just gaze softly in front of you at a slight angle downward, maybe 45 degrees. Take a deep breath in and let's let it out slowly just to get a practice breath in and set ourselves up. Breathe in, breathe out. As we begin, I'll invite you to think the word good on your inhale and day on your exhale today. Good day, in other words. This is not just a greeting. This is an intention. So let's try that once. Inhale, good. Exhale, day. One more time. Inhale, good. Exhale, day. Now let's begin the clock. Good day. Stay with your breath. Inhale, good. Exhale, day. Just a few more moments here. And that's our mindful minute. Take one last deep breath in and let it out slowly. Open your eyes if you haven't already, and let's reflect. When we say good day, it's one of those small gestures of kindness, a greeting we offer to someone else. But you know what I like even more about it? It's the intention for yourself. When you say good day, you're not just offering the kindness to another person, you're also setting the tone for the day you're creating around you. You're stating with conviction, it's good day, the kind of day you want to have, the possibility, the intention, the energy you're bringing into the world. So think about how that may have felt to you, what came to mind during that mindful minute. This simple practice reminds us to pause, to notice, and to carry kindness forward in our day for others and doing some self-care for ourselves. Thank you for sharing that mindful minute with me today. So how can we bring this to life in your and my waking minutes today and this week? Here are some simple, practical ways to start adding a little more kindness to your life and others' lives too. Remember the title of this podcast, 1,000 Waking Minutes. That's a reminder that time is life's currency and how we spend it matters. The benefits of these small gestures will have great payoff for just seconds shared and spent in your day. Number one, greet with intention, just like we practice in our mindful minute. Say good morning, happy holidays, or even just thank you, but don't rush it. Say it like you mean it, with intention. A simple, heartfelt greeting can turn someone's day around, literally. If you say bless you, or salud, or gesundheit, the latter two literally offering the word health, like wishing someone good health, to that person, look at the person for a moment. Find a way when you say it. Even try to connect eyes. Number two, hold the door or offer the spot. Look for opportunities to grab the door for someone. It can be almost like a game. It can be really fun. even if they're a little farther away than usual. Or let someone go ahead of you in line at the coffee shop, the grocery store, anywhere. And these tiny moments can create ripples of connection. Third, reach out in writing. Write a holiday card. Write a text. Even an email that you think about to someone you care about. It could be as simple as thinking of you and wishing you a happy season. It's just a small act, but it can be powerful, especially when it's sort of on the unexpected, both for you, because you feel good for having done it, and for them when they see you pop up in their inbox or literally receive a stamped envelope in the mail alongside all the other flyers and political banners and catalogs and whatnot. Next, make a call. So this is another way to connect and spread kindness. Pick up the phone and call someone you haven't spoken to in a while, even if you only have a couple minutes. It might feel old-fashioned, but there's nothing like hearing a familiar voice on the other end. Something I started doing recently was when I'm crafting an email sometime, even to a business colleague that I have become friendly with over time. Sometimes I'm mid-sentence and I just pick up the phone and see if they're there. It sort of gives me an opportunity to think about like a new way to connect. And once in a while I get them. And once in a while it's sort of like a quick, oh, hi, so good to hear your voice. You know, I'm sending you an email, and you can cover off at that moment. Or they say, hey, can't talk now, but so good to hear your voice. That's something that I've done recently. Another practical way that you can spread kindness and benefit is to go the extra mile if you can. If you're in the position to do so, don't stretch yourself if you're not, but you might buy a coffee for the person behind you in line, or go out of your way to help someone in need, whether it's offering to carry their groceries, paying for a meal, or just listening, taking some extra minutes, even if you were in a hurry, but taking extra minutes if someone needs to talk. These are the gestures that people remember, you too, and why the pay it forward stories seem to capture and attract our interests and resonate with so many of us. Next one's really simple. Share a smile. Smile at a stranger. Yes, smiling is contagious. Even if they don't smile back, you can smile inside, having tried. You're planting a little seed of kindness into the world, and it will grow. So the idea of all of these, I kept it really simple because it is simple. Try not to overthink it. Just find one small way each day to spread a little kindness. It might feel small in the moment. You might feel funny if you're doing something new that you haven't done before and trying it. But believe me, and you probably already know, it makes a difference. It can transform someone's day, and it might just transform you too. So, how will you spend a few of your 1,000 waking minutes this week? Maybe in ways that build kindness, connection, and a little bit of joy for the people around you. So, what's it going to be? My little challenge to you to consider this week is how you're going to put this practice into your life or amplify it. And as you start thinking about that, let me share a quick story that's been on my mind as I was planning this episode. Earlier this week, I was driving my daughter to school, and we were chatting, and we were just chit-chatting, getting ready for the day. And I shared that I was planning this episode about small gestures of kindness. And she's in kindergarten. And as kids often do, she has this beautifully simple and yet also poetic way of looking at the world. So I asked her, I said, what kind of gestures or greetings do you like to say to others? And without skipping a beat to pause, she said, I say hello, and then I smile at people. I followed up, curious, and how does that make you feel when they respond? What do they say back? She thought for a second and then told me, it makes me feel warm inside. But what struck me was what happened next. She looked up to me and asked, Mom, how do you feel when someone says a gesture or a hello to you? Now, I wasn't surprised she turned the question back to me, but I hadn't really thought about it in that moment. And I paused and I said something like, I guess it makes me feel warm too. And I think what it makes me feel is like I'm being seen and that I matter. And you know what? It really struck me deeply. It's striking me now. I'm welling up in tears. It's true. A small gesture, like a smile or hello or a thank you, can create a profound feeling in the middle of a big, busy world in a moment that you've been seen and you've been acknowledged. And maybe you don't even know how to articulate it at the moment. But where you matter, wow, that's not small at all. That's extraordinary. So what's your gesture of kindness going to be this week? Your small gesture of kindness could be a greeting or a smile, a simple thank you, and know that it's creating a ripple effect and letting others and you know they matter. So before we wrap up, I'd like to just take a moment to recap on today's episode. We explored the power of small gestures, the kind that brightens someone's day and reminds them that they're seen. From simple greetings like good morning to intentional acts of kindness about how these moments can connect us and bring meaning to our lives. And we looked at how spending just a few of our 1,000 waking minutes of a day on kindness can make a big difference to our psychological and physical health personally, not just for others, which is usually why we're initiating in the first place, but it brings it back to us too. Thank you for sharing a few of your waking minutes with me today. I'm Dr. Wendy Bazilian, and I look forward to continuing to building these connections together, one kindness at a time. Until next time, good day and be well. Thank you for tuning in to 1,000 Waking Minutes. A huge thank you to our amazing collaborators, including our production and marketing teams, and Gabriela Escalante in particular. To the ultra-talented Beza for my theme music, my lifelong friend and artist, Pearl Price Photography and Design, to Daniel Ballantyne, Jen Nguyen, Joanna Powell, and of course my family, and everyone working tirelessly behind the scenes. And to you, our valued listeners, I so appreciate your support. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a comment, writing a review, and giving 1,000 Waking Minutes, that's us, a 5-star rating. And please hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Please follow and stay connected at wendybazilian.com. And don't forget to share with your friends. Your support helps us grow and bring you more great content. Until next time, find some simple opportunities to optimize those 1,000 waking minutes each day.
I'm saying yes